welcome to part two of our off-season wish list priorities, whatever you want to call it. Now it's my turn. You guys heard from Johnny, um, all kinds of good ideas on his end, and lucky for you guys, we don't share any ideas, so this is going to be an entirely new episode. Very little overlap, and I have just as many ideas, dude. I mean, there's so many ways they can go with this.
Yeah, these lists were really hard to make for anyone listening because like you guys, I mean, we can convince ourselves of just about any player looking good in Phillies pinstripes.
For sure. It's a weird offseason where like a ton of players can fit on this team. And the holes that we have, there's a ton of players there available. But let's get into it. I think the proper place to start. Oh, also, I didn't do my list like yours. Like I have plan A's, plan B's, plan C's.
Wow.
I'll just cover my plan A's, and then once I'm all done, we'll go back and look at like some of my backup plans.
Okay.
Plan A for shortstop. I know this might get some hate. It's very, very conflicting, like I said in the last episode, but I'm giving Xander Bogaerts 7 years, $210 million. It feels like he's the player. I don't know why, but I mean he was there with Dombrowski. Ultimately, the one who gets to decide what to do this offseason is Dombrowski. And he's a Red Sox guy. Dombrowski gave him his last extension. He's the same age as Trey Turner. He's going to be slightly cheaper. That has a lot to do with it's got to be the defense because I think if you're talking bat, I think Xander Bogaerts might be a better pure hitter than Trey Turner. He's around 300 hitter. The pop seems to come and go. He had like 12 or something home runs this year. That's a little weird. I don't know why, but he's always going to be right around 300. He's a very consistent hitter, not too much strikeout. It's a signing that like the Yandy Diaz signing or trade you had. It balances out the lineup. This is a good guy to plug between home run hitters. Complements the Schwarbers and the Hoskins of the world really well. And I think you do this signing. You put him at shortstop now. Defensive numbers have always been pretty questionable. This year they were fine. He's a big shortstop who's eventually going to have to move off the position, just like Trey Turner probably will, except he won't go to second base, I don't think. I think he's going to go to third base when he moves off. And I think I have a plan for this. You put Xander Bogaerts at shortstop this year, Bryson Stott at second base. You kind of see how it goes. And if at the end of this season, those numbers, recede a little bit, you have Rhys Hoskins leaving the team. I think that would be a perfect opportunity to move Alec Boehm to first base, move Xander Bogaerts to third base, and put Sosa, who this front office believes extremely highly in, mainly as a defender, but they also think very highly of his bat. Give him another year to figure it out, working with K Long, and kind of building that offensive profile. And I think you just plug him into shortstop, and you have a defense in 1 year that's better. You have everybody lining up where teams are going to think they're going to play in the future. A lot of teams think that Alec Boehm's a future first baseman. A lot of teams think Xander Bogaerts is a future third baseman. This whole infield shift that we have going on here times up perfectly with Rhys Hoskins, who has 1 year remaining on his deal. A lot of people don't think that he's going to come back just because of the glut of potential first basemen we have on this roster. I don't know, dude. This makes a lot of sense when I lay it out like that. And I've kind of convinced myself that this is a better way to go. Xander Bogaerts, for all the reasons that Trey Turner can plug into that two spot, Xander Bogaerts can too. The OBP, it allows him to get on base for Bryce. He's not going to steal the bases, but there's no speed to decline as he gets older. You don't have to worry about that. This 300 average, this hit tool is going to age completely fine. And you're talking probably $30 million difference. It doesn't sound like anything crazy when you're talking 240 versus 210, but it's something to consider. I went with Xander Bogaerts over Trey Turner.
I like it. I've always thought fondly of Xander Bogaerts, and I've always acknowledged the connection between Dave Dombrowski and him. And we all know Dave isn't shy to go after the guys that he's had before. That's kind of his MO. And I think you're right. Absolutely. I think it makes this team, like, going forward, not 2023 necessarily, but 2024 and beyond, I think it opens up a lot of flexibility in the infield. Slide him over to third, sliding Turner over to second, then having a Stott Sosa combo at short, whoever's still there. I really love that, and I really would not be mad if Xander Bogaerts was the Phillies' choice. But I do have a concern. You say he's not that fast. He's going to age well. How do I know he's just not going to age like Gene Segura did?
So it's actually funny because I do think he's going to age like Gene Segura will. And I think that's a good thing.
Wait. So you're paying $210 million for Gene Segura?
No, because Xander Bogaerts has so much more to start aging from. I mean, at his best, he's one of the best hitters in baseball. But I think you're going to look at a hitter whose power might decline, but his ability to put bat on ball is always going to remain constant. Kind of like Gene Segura. Like, it's weird, but in this scenario, it would be a good thing. Whereas Trey Turner, dude, I just can't get over the 15% of his hits are infield singles. I can't get over that. Like that feels like. It just feels like a cheap average. It's not to say he's not a great player. He's a very good player, but 37-year-old Xander Bogaerts is going to probably be more productive than 37-year-old Trey Turner. And you have a team that I know we're really selling out for these next 3 years, but you're also selling out for after that too with these young starters, the Bohms, the Stotts, the Marshes. This is Dombrowski's extended this team to kind of make this window as big as possible. And I feel like moving Xander to third base, moving Bohm to first base, it just feels clean. It just feels like natural progression here. Yeah, and you move Stott to second base. I want to keep him there forever if we move him there. Let's let him get comfortable there. Let's just make him a second baseman. No 37-year-old Trey Turner can't play shortstop anymore. Let's figure out somewhere else to play him. Let's move Stott back to shortstop. No. Let's not do that. Let's just look at the team and kind of figure out where this team lines up defensively and find a shortstop that fits that mold. Because I know we say this all the time, but this front office loves Sosa. And I think that they thought that they would be getting a shortstop of the future. Maybe not next year, but eventually they think Sosa can probably be productive. You don't go out and get that type of player for just an infield replacement for the next 6 years. He's so young. Dude, I think this makes a ton of sense.
It makes sense, and I wouldn't be upset, but you haven't necessarily convinced me. You're dead set that Xander Bogaerts is going to age better than Trey Turner, and we simply don't know that. Trey Turner is probably one of the best a top 3 athlete in baseball. He's really incredible with what he can do, and just the ease he plays the game. But again, I think you're right. It makes sense as far as the long term. I think it puts our complementary pieces in the right spots, and I think I'd be thrilled. Yeah, you sold me.
It's hard to ignore the Dombrowski-Xander connection. It's there. It's real.
Yeah, because I think Dombrowski, maybe he thinks he can get a little bit of a discount if he's got that connection. And Bogaerts, he might fit that bill because we could probably get him for a little closer to $200 million than Turner. And a $50 million would be nice to save.
Yeah, so that's $30 million a year. If we're talking $50-60 million, that leaves us with $30 million left. I went a little different route with the pitcher. I don't know if we're going to be able to get him for this, but I think if we give him the 4th year, we might. I'm giving Chris Bassitt 4 years, $79 million. I think he'll be right around the 3-year, $20 to $22 million. I think if we give him the 4th year, we might be able to get that down under 20. We have the upside in this rotation, like you said, Nola, Wheeler. We kind of just need the floor. This guy's a really good floor pitcher. He's very durable the past 4 years, and he knows how to pitch. He's 34 now, which is a little older than I'd like, but he knows how to pitch. I mean, he knows how to pitch more than Kyle Gibson did. His pitchability mixed with stuff right now is still very effective, and I absolutely love him starting a playoff game. The AAV is questionable. We might have to pay a little more for him, but you put him in the 3 spot. You love this rotation. You absolutely love it.
That's an interesting one. I didn't expect you to go that route at all. Yeah, Bassitt's an interesting case because he's not a young guy. What's he, 34?
34.
Yeah, 4 years. So you got Chris Bassitt making $22 million when he's 38, which I personally, I don't love that. That scares me. I worry that he'll only be effective the first 2 seasons of the contract, and then his velocity might diminish completely, even though that's not the staple of his skill set. It worries me a little bit, signing a guy that old to that much money when we could go with an older, younger guy that's making under $15 million a year.
Yeah, so the options there, you could front load it. You could give him some more money now and pay a little less later. If you think about his decline, I think it would line up in theory perfectly with the incline of the younger arms in the system. So you're not paying Chris Bassitt, $22 million to be your 3 starter in 2027. You have, the Andy Painter, you have maybe, the Mick Abels of the world. The pressure will steadily just decrease off of him. So, I mean, you'll be able to kind of hide him towards the back of this rotation, towards the end of this deal, while hopefully maybe paying him a little less towards the 15 million, like you said. But I mean, he feels like the pitcher that you wanted in the playoffs, this year. He just feels like the guy that you wish you had.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. I just looked at this pitcher list and he just felt right to me. I think that his demand might go up and push this number a little higher. But if you can get him for this number, I mean, I could definitely see us doing that, and I'd be all in for it, especially these next 2 years when he's still kind of young.
Yeah, I over the next 2 seasons, I love the idea of having Chris Bassitt on our team. I really do, and I think when I was searching for free agents to sign, I was looking for guys that could fit into that range where their skill set, they could take the ball after Nola and before Ranger maybe. That's kind of where I was thinking, and I think Chris Bassitt is that guy. I think he would immediately slot in as a 3 guy. He's a 3 in any rotation, and he's a 2 in some bad rotations. So I wouldn't be disappointed. I would like us to try to get the best deal possible, and I would like us to go 3 years and avoid 4 if we do this. But I would be happy, and it would make an instant difference. And I think he'd be great in the clubhouse with some of the young pitchers.
That's a good point. And if we did get Chris Bassitt, who's probably one of the higher end 3s or 4s, I mean, you're looking at a best of 7 series here. I might want him to start twice. And I definitely want Ranger starting twice. And I definitely want Wheeler starting twice. I mean, it changes the dynamic because like you said, he's a pitcher who can be anywhere from a low end 2 or an extremely high end 4. Flexibility in a rotation that was kind of missing that, especially towards the back end. And like I said, we have the ceiling, we need the floor, and he would prop up the back end of this rotation, and durability is good. I don't know. He seems like a very good pitcher. I don't know if he's the pitcher for us. I don't know if he has a salary for us because I'm already pushing 50 million with these moves. It's ambitious, but he's a good pitcher, and I wouldn't mind having him on my staff.
Yeah, from everything I've heard, he's really just a great baseball player all around. The Mets seem to love him, and people don't realize Scherzer and DeGrom did not pitch that many innings this year. Chris Bassitt was that guy. He was out there, and as Philly fans, he was frustrating against us. I mean, he knows how to neutralize power bats, and when you get into the playoffs, there's a lot of those guys that are trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And I think we know that Nola can let up the home run or 2. And it would be nice to have a guy right there, another righty that doesn't really let up a lot of home runs.
Yeah, hides the ball really well. And the Mets, I mean, they're talking about how to replace DeGrom. They got to figure out how to replace this guy too, because like you said, he was the guy who went out there every fifth day this year. They're gonna miss him, and I don't think he's going back to New York. So I mean, it'd be nice not to face him next year too, like you said. But that's my pitcher. That's my starting pitcher. Off to the bullpen. You went the Taylor Rogers route. I agree that we do need a left-handed reliever, but I went the Andrew Chafin route. 2 years, $18 million. He is quality lefty. I mean, just like Rogers, kind of feels like a Brad Hand replacement, just like Rogers did. He has average splits, but I just love his ability to induce soft contact. I think that's so useful, especially in today's game where the home run's such a threat. He walks less than Brad Hand, strikes out more than Brad Hand. This is just a direct upgrade over Brad Hand. 2 years, $18 million. Think he could probably get it done. Montero just got 34 over 3. Suarez got 46 over 5. He's in that tier. Each $10 million for some left-handed stability.
I love it. You know, if it was Taylor Rogers or Andrew Chafin, I'd be happy. I think both of them are more precise pitchers than Brad Hand. Brad Hand made us nervous. There's nothing, we can't hide that. You didn't know if he was going to come in and plunk two guys or if he was going to come in and have that nasty breaking ball. And I've seen plenty of Taylor Rogers and Andrew Chafin, and they bring exactly what you need out of, and they probably wouldn't have to be like high leverage regulars. They'd be for tough lefties and probably seventh inning type stuff.
Yeah, I like Chafin's ability to get righties out, which is kind of a lost art with left-handed pitchers. They buy all into the let's get lefties out, but I mean, there's a lot of righties out there, and it's nice to have righties who can get lefties out, lefties who can get righties out. Just the flexibility that offers really helps the bullpen. But I have another signing, and it's a very interesting signing, and don't know how you're going to feel about it. I'm giving Luke Jackson 2 years, $12 million, and I can guarantee you don't know anything about Luke Jackson, do you?
I know Luke Jackson was on the Braves this year.
Yeah, how do you do this year?
He faced us one time. I think he did well then.
Yeah, so
I know nothing else about him.
Luke Jackson had a 1.98 ERA in 2021, over 60 innings. Very, very good pitcher. He had Tommy John in 2022. That's why you didn't see him too much. He won't be back until probably June. So I'm giving him $4 million this year for a partial kind of season. And then I'm giving him $8 million, and that's going to kind of entice him to stay here. It's kind of like, we'll give you the guaranteed money now, help you recover, but we'll get you for a little cheaper on the back end. And I mean, a 1.98 ERA in 60 plus innings with, good strikeout numbers. This is a pitcher that no one's going to know about. Everybody forgot about. No one's going to really target him. I mean, he's going to have interest. He's going to have the teams calling him, but this is a future play that's given us a kind of a young arm, low 30s for the next 2 years. We're getting a little fancy here with this, but I think that you can probably early in the season look to like a Francisco Morales, Griff McGarry type, see how they do in the majors, give them that little taste of bullpen action. And if they don't work, you have Luke Jackson returning from Tommy John. That's your insurance. And if they do work, more quality pitchers, the better. Very forward-thinking move here, but I don't know.
This might be you sold this one the best, and the concept that you're selling makes the most sense. A common thing is bullpen arms fizzling out towards the end of the year. And I think we would really benefit from having a guy come in the second half of the season, not an inning on his arm yet in the year, and go out and do his thing. And I think you're right. It would give some of the young guys who are MLB ready a shot. And if it doesn't work out, there is a backup plan in Luke Jackson. I like the guaranteed money now. Would you do an option for the second year or?
Player option. I'd imagine. Yeah. That's a good way of thinking about it. I was just going to guarantee it. But a player option definitely works. I love these kind of deals. I love these deals that it's a gamble. It's a pretty low risk gamble, but such high upside. I mean, if everything goes right in this deal, you're looking at a pitcher that doesn't have a lot of miles on his arm from this year. He'll just be getting here in June. And then if you get to the playoffs, dude, this is a guy who can close games out. He has closing experience, and he can be your best option out of the pen. He was that good in 2021 for that Braves team that won the World Series. Just creative. You got to get creative in a seller's market like this. And I do think some of these guys, like I said, have earned the opportunity. It's fancy, but I mean, it's a move that good teams make, right?
Yeah, and you look at it, most teams, they're locking up their quality arms. Padres aren't letting Suarez go. Astros aren't letting Montero go. And if you look at the Phillies rotation, the guys that had big effects this year, Bilotti, Alvarado, Nick Nelson, guys you didn't really ever hear of. Nick Nelson, to a lesser extent, of course. Sir Anthony Dominguez, a homegrown guy, but the other two, you get Alvarado. He couldn't control himself in Tampa Bay. You come over to a different place, and you find success. A lot of the times, it's not a winning formula to sign relievers for a lot of money. Exhibit A, Jonathan Papelbon.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Luke Jackson, that's a name to remember because someone's going to get a steal this off season. But I mean, those are I guess I had 4 moves there that are really my big moves. I have other ideas that I'll run through with you. Not too much. Just kind of cover all the bases on what people are thinking. I have a lot of the stuff I've heard. I have that down and like how we would actually handle that. But I'll start with the Rhys Hoskins take, and I think this is probably going to put it into perspective because I've seen some ridiculous stuff online about what people think Rhys Hoskins is worth. Like I have people thinking, like I don't know if it was a joke, but I saw like someone wanted Rhys Hoskins for Joe Musgrove. No, like that's just not how this is going to work. Rhys Hoskins is a very flawed player. If we were to stick him out there on the open market, it's a very particular team that would be interested. So I have Rhys Hoskins here for 3 number 4 starters, all different teams, and I really do think this is his worth. He's very valuable to us as a power bat, but I think the names that we should probably be targeting if we're shopping Rhys Hoskins. Zach Plesac of the Indians is one. Chris Flexen of the Mariners and Jose Urquidy of the Astros. These are 3 teams that, I mean, specifically the Astros have the need for the first baseman. Indians need the pop, and the Mariners can move Ty France to second if they don't get one of the shortstops, and there's your first baseman. This is really what he's worth. These pitchers, they're controllable, but the ceiling's capped on these guys. We would be trading for a 4 starter. I don't know. This is where we're at with Rhys. I don't really want these deals. I don't think that if I was Dombrowski, I'd be calling these teams and doing it because it's just not worth it. He's worth more to us. So just relax with Rhys. There's no need to move him. We have him for another year, and there's not much we can get for him at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think he's having Rhys on our team would be more important than getting any of those starters. I don't really like the whole trading Rhys idea in general. I offered a trade earlier in the last episode, but that was with a package of players, and that adds to the value of Rhys Hoskins and fills other holes. But in general, it's likely Rhys Hoskins will be our opening day first baseman, and that's fine.
Do you like any of those pitchers I named, or not really?
No, not really.
I figured.
Actually, I do like Zach Plesac because his value is so low, and I think he does have okay stuff.
Yeah, it was tough finding teams that actually could use Rhys because there's these first basemen that can hit are a dime a dozen. We have like 8 on our team right now. There's not many teams out there that need
I'm
one.
telling you though, the Tampa Bay Rays just traded G-Man Choi. They don't have a first baseman, and who better to fix a player with a lot of flaws? Tampa Bay Rays.
You're right. I hear you. But that's the Reese. I just wanted to cover that trade because I hear it everywhere, and I'm kind of sick of it. If that happens, one option's moving Schwarber to first. There's a lot of criticism of this move. People are saying like he only has like 60 innings there, but I like you said, Reese's was awful there. Like no matter how bad Schwarber is there, the improvement that the left fielder is going to have over Schwarber in left field, like the defense is definitely going to get better if we move Schwarber there because that means there's a better defender in left field. It's like don't rule out Schwarber playing first because he can definitely do it in my opinion. And at the end of the day, Reese was terrible at first base. Schwarber was terrible in left. What's the difference here? I just wanted to hit on that because people are ruling that out. Like there's a good chance that Schwarber's playing first in the future one day.
There's also something that I think people haven't even considered that I kind of thought about this morning. I know you talked a little bit about a potential platoon, like I think that could be a good idea. What about Nick Maton at first?
He's a weird first baseman, dude. He like that's not a hitter profile, but I mean defensively he'd fit perfectly.
I think that's what we're looking for. 50% of the time have a better defender.
No, I hear you. Let's put this into perspective a little bit. Rhys Hoskins, outs above average, which is my favorite fielding stat. He was in the 4th percentile, which means 96% of first basemen were better. And then Schwarber in left field was in the 1st percentile. I actually think he might have been the worst left fielder in baseball.
Really?
Yeah, so people are saying like, "Oh, he doesn't know how to play first base. He doesn't know how to play left field." Like, like at the end of the day,
Holy shit.
it would be addition by just not him being out there because anybody's better than him in left field. People don't think about that. Castellanos was better in right relative to other right fielders than Schwarber was in left. 1st percentile.
Yeah, I guess I didn't. He made all the routine plays, so it didn't really bother me. But yeah, there's definitely plays that could have been made. Wow, that shocks me a lot. And yeah, with that in perspective, why not shake up first base and left field? Well, maybe put Rhys Hoskins back in left field.
He can't be any worse. I mean, at the end of the day, they're both terrible. Just yeah, that won't work. But if we do free up that left fielder spot, I have 2 names here. I'm really covering all the bases here. I have Adam Duvall and AJ Pollock, who, assuming Rhys Hoskins isn't on this team, the most useful thing Rhys did was crush lefties. You have 2 right-handed outfielders. Duvall hit like 39 home runs last year. He got hurt this year. And then AJ Pollock has like 850 OPS against lefties. These are 2 guys who, Duvall specifically is an amazing center fielder. Stick him in left, and that defense would be just much better than our 1st percentile left fielder now. And AJ Pollock, who's a veteran, these are both guys older, past their prime, who would be just unique fits to this team. Just a couple names that I thought I'd throw out there.
Yeah, I'll throw it out there. Matasaka Yoshida.
That's a good one too. Yeah, I didn't even cover that.
Yeah, I didn't cover it because I just don't think the Phillies are going to free up that spot. I think it's going to be hard to do.
Yeah, Mitch Haniger, another name, just right-handed outfielders. That's the left field thing. Covered all those 3 ideas. Now I got a ton here. We'll just hit these real quick, all right?
Okay.
Everything aligns right. I wouldn't mind having Zach Eflin back as our 4th starter. I know Philly fans don't like this, but I mean, dude, he's 28. We know what we're getting. Like, it's valuable that we just know. Like, we know who Eflin is. He's never going to give you 200 innings. Never. He's probably only good for 100 innings. 120 is a good year. If his market just is complete crap, I wouldn't mind having him back to do Nick Nelson's job. I think he can do Nick Nelson's job 10 times better than Nick Nelson can do it, a long man. Don't rule Zach Eflin out because he's a good pitcher. I mean, he's never going to blow you away, but he's just a quality arm. He's good to have around.
Yeah, that's funny you say that because for me, the Ross Stripling Zach Eflin debate was strong. Who would you rather have, like a Ross Stripling or a Zach Eflin as like a potential swingman? And it was hard. It was a hard choice for me to make, but I just said Stripling because the NL East has never seen him.
Yeah, that's Eflin. A lot of Derek Hall hype at first base. I don't see it. It's never going to work. If they did decide to do it, which I don't think they will, you got to pair him with somebody like a Darren Ruff. This is ugly, man. But, I mean, Darren Ruff and Derek Hall are collectively a good hitter. I don't think there'll be anything in the field. But you can't stick it out there and expect 162 games at him. You need to pair him with someone who can hit lefties. Figured I'd just cover that.
Yeah, I'm going to throw that one out because I hate that idea.
I hear more of it than I'd like. Yeah, I know. That's that. Eovaldi, I don't mind it. It's not my favorite. The guy's losing velocity. He is a velocity pitcher. The Dombrowski connection's there. I convinced myself of it. Not my favorite.
I think it's a very possible thing to happen.
Yeah, Eovaldi. Go ahead.
Nah, I'm good.
That's all I got on Eovaldi. Tyler Anderson's another name I keep hearing. I don't mind it either, but the thing about the Dodgers is they always seem to get the best version of a player. And once they go to another team, like the Dodgers just level up a player. If he comes here, he's not going to be the 2 ERA guy, I don't think. And he hasn't been doing it like this high-level pitching for a while. Just look at Knable. I mean, as soon as you get away from the Dodgers, they're just worse. So I think that's something to think about with him. I hear a lot of chatter about him.
Yeah, Tyler Anderson's a guy I really liked in the beginning. But then he's probably not going to leave the Dodgers. He'll probably take that qualifying offer. So I kind of just clocked out in that. I don't see him coming to Philly. And yeah, I think you're right. We've seen time and time again, people are better in a Dodger uniform.
No Gibby under any circumstance.
No, he's gone forever.
Okay. I don't want the Jansen, Kimbrel, Chapman group in my bullpen. High volatile pitchers who are past their prime and expensive. Don't want any of them.
Sounds like Papelbon.
Yeah. So none of them, and I don't want Zach Verlander, or not Zach Verlander. I just saw Zach Eflin. Justin Verlander. I don't want Justin Verlander.
Me neither. $35 million for a 40-year-old starting pitcher. No thanks. In a hitter's ballpark, nah.
Yeah, he's going to win the Cy Young, so there's only so much we can say. But I mean, I don't want to be the guy stuck with that contract when he loses it. He's 40.
And he's looking for more than a 1-year deal because he opted out.
Yeah, I don't want that. Let me see what else I got here. I think that might be kind of it. I mean, I have Taijuan Walker as another 4-starter. I know I texted you about him. 2 straight seasons of 150 innings. He is a 4-starter. Like, by definition, that is a 4-starter. It's fine. I wouldn't be against just chasing the traditional route with a 4-starter like that.
Nope, me neither. I would be open for it, depending on where we spend the other money.
Yeah, I think that's all I got. I mean, we just covered a ton there.
Yes, we did.
You got anything else? I mean, that's the off season. That's kind of just our breakdown of the off season. It was kind of a mess, but I mean, I think we covered it all.
I guess a general message to the listeners. The MLB had I know I've seen a lot of chatter online. People thinking that because the economy is a little bad, teams are going to save all their money. The MLB just broke their revenue record all time. I think it was like $11.5 billion. The Phillies themselves, I think, ranked 4th in revenue, first playoff berth in 13 years. Expect teams to go over the luxury tax more than on a usual year. It was a good year for baseball. Baseball is certainly not dead. It's thriving. I think the big stars get big contracts, and I think the Phils go over luxury tax, and I think the couple, probably 5 to 10 other teams will do the same thing.
Last but not least, Carlos Rodon. Didn't even talk about him.
Oh, shoot.
You see it happening?
Yeah, how do we... I think for me, that completely weighs on Turner.
So, no, if we don't get any of the big name shortstops, you think that's where they turn?
Yeah.
But
all right. I just, in general, I don't see it because I feel like the Rangers and Mets have this need and they're willing to pay so much annually. And I think the Phillies are looking for contracts that kind of aren't as painful year to year. You look at Bryce Harper, he's making $26 million a year. That is very team friendly. I don't think we have any urge to pay a guy 33 plus million a year. So unless he signs for like 29, 30 million a year, I'm crossing it out. I think it's too much.
I see a ton of just ridiculous, like, I don't even know, like wish lists for the offseason. There's no chance we get Rodon in a shortstop, right? No chance. Zero. Okay, thank you. I just figured that because I see that. I see these like all over Twitter, all over like TikTok. Like, we're not getting both. You're not getting two $30 to $35 million players when we're not, like, that would blow us over the luxury tax without any bullpen. There's no way. There's literally no way.
There is a way, but it's a pipe dream. We gotta think real. One or the other.
Yeah, so that covers everything. We're not even going to touch upon like the Judge and DeGrom because there's no point.
Nope.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Hopefully, we get some news here soon. I was kind of hoping that, like, as soon as it hit 5:00 the other day, that we'd get the notification, but it never happens that fast. So I just hope it's quicker and it's not like bleeding into March like it sometimes does.
No, I think this one will move a little quicker. I think around the holidays, the winter meetings, post-winter meetings, I think that December 8th on, I think we'll see the bulk of the moves. I think the shortstop market will start moving.
Cool. No, we'll see. And with that being said, thank you guys for listening. As always, give us the like, comment what you guys want us to talk about, what you guys liked about this episode. And yeah, you guys will be hearing from us soon. Hopefully we will have news next time. If not, we'll kind of just break down how the market's developing. Yeah, hopefully we have some action here soon. And if you are an Eagles or a Sixers fan, check out some of the other podcasts, Flying in Style, Pixoff Media, and we'll also have some articles coming to you guys soon. All kinds of good stuff coming your way. But thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you next time.